this is the last part of the first section. Parry blocking punch is a little bit difficult move. So a parry closing up, it's a new technique in there. Cross hands, I would say it's quite easy, right? So 3 movements. So first, let's see if you have a question for it.
When we're doing the parry blocking punch, when does your foot, when do you start shifting your weight?
You mean foot touch down?
Yes.
You know, here we have the coordination is like this. When you are moving weight, this is deflecting. And when you open arms, same time your left foot need to land the ground, but the foot not touching ground yet. When you are moving forward weight, now is the time for you to touching ground. Then bending. So here the coordination is when arms open, foot landing ground. And foot landing ground actually is not very empty. It is already some weight in there. Okay, that's give you the rule. If you're too empty, you cannot punch. Okay, so remember, empty leg always need to include some form. If too emptied, then you know hard to transfer the energy. Okay. So any other question?
Why it's called if you under the elbow?
A fist under the elbow?
Yeah.
No, we call a parry closing up.
Oh, yes, it's another.
Another movement.
Yeah.
Fist under the elbow, you know, because it's lower than elbow. So that's the reason we call
yes.
that. Yeah. So here we call a parry closing up.
Yeah. Closing up.
You know, a parry closing up. In Chinese we call 如风似壁. Why we call that? Which is, you know, one is from our technique. You know, when we are, I guess here you do same thing. You know, the courthouse says this house is not your property anymore. What are they going to do? They put a cross in front of your door, which is nobody can walk into it, and it's not belong to you anymore. So they have a label to cross the door. So it's like that's kind of, you know, closing out, something like that, and keep something out. That's the meaning. And a parry closing up, what is this meaning? Actually, it's to keep your opponent out. Can come here. So from the meaning, for example, for this movement, we have 2 meanings. First, when my opponent grabs me, okay, when he grabbed me, what are you going to do? So we use a parry closing up. See, from here, try to make your opponent cannot, you know, keep grabbing you. So this is keep your opponent stay outside. And the other part, for example, when my opponent pushed me, and he pushed me on this side. He pushed me, then you know, for example, my footwork is in this side. This is my weak footwork. If he push me this side, I'm very easy to lose balance in here. But if the other side, I should be all right. For example, when our opponent push me this side, what I'm going to do? See, I keep my opponent out. So which is I use this parry closing up technique, switched energy point. Now you know he is not, you know, cannot get in, and I can get into my opponent. Same thing, my opponent can do a parry closing up, and that's right. Now he is getting into me, and you know, which is I try to make this closing up, keep my opponent staying outside, don't get into me. Okay, so that's one of the use meaning, which is we switch energy point from your opponent. So original he is in here, but I can switch to the other side. And if he control, you know, which side you are weak. When we are making any of the stance, you always has strong side. You always have weak side. If I'm in this footwork, this direction is a weak direction. But if weak direction is from right side. But if I'm in left side, my opponent, if doing this, this side is more rooted. This side, I cannot root it because the footwork. So if a footwork in this side, then my left arm in here is weak. So you need to know when your opponent is standing in the posture, which parts, if you try to, you know, give your energy, it's the easiest way to make your opponent lose balance. For example, when my opponent standing there, he make a bow stance. Okay, see, when he make bow stance, if I direct push this, that's not very easy. But if I push this side, it's getting easy. And this side, not easy, but this side is easy. Okay, so you need to know which direction it's easy to make your opponent lose balance. If you just direct go, you will use a lot of your strength, energy to make your opponent lose balance. But same movement, depends on the footwork. You do slightly different angle will make your opponent very easy to lose balance. So here, if you are in a bad situation, how you can get out? Switch the energy side. And when you switch the energy side, you will have a stable positions feeling. Okay, so that's the parried closing up meaning. So which is keep your opponent cannot come into you. Keep them stay in the outside, like a courthouse gave the order, nobody can walk in. Any other question?
Why we do fist in such complicated way and not just easier way? Why we do all this?
Okay, that's because
movement?
we are deflecting. The energy point is not in the fist. It's on your arm. So when my opponent coming to me, I use arm deflect. And I keep arm in touch, rotate, I can go back.
So the arm of opponent always you're like you're disconnected with when you do this.
Yes, for
And
example.
then you.
For example, when my opponent's right arm coming to me, okay, so here I'm deflect. But if my opponent's other arm coming to me, what I'm going to do? I cannot just go like this, right? So I have to rotate and from here to do it. So which is I keep here sticking and rotate my arm direction. And from here to do the deflect. Here still it's a deflect meaning. So parry, block and punch, parry, deflect. So this is not chop meaning. And from here, you open both sides of your opponent. Now it's punch time because you open your opponent's center in there. Then you can go to the punch. So parry, we want you feel you deflect by here. And the forearm keep in touch and can be deflect and at the same time rotate, go back direction. If you do deflect, straight go, it's kind of straight curve, right? Down, rotate, deflecting back. Okay. So this is the why we are keep, you know, this circle continue because the contact point is not on the fist, it's on the forearm.